guys going here?
Why not?
We're going 50 minutes. Right? 50 minutes.
Riders, you will not qualify as the Colorado State Championship.
Okay, players ready.
It's Michael Cattle down south. There we go. We're racing.
Welcome, race fans, to the 2025 Longmont Criterium in beautiful Longmont, Colorado. This is Garrick Mitchell with Bomb Squad Racing, presented by Stem Ciders. And you are riding along with the 50-plus Masters, Category 1, 2, 3s. This is the day after Littleton. I'm posting the video, almost 2 weeks later. Sorry about that, folks. Life is happening. But this is a course I've raced many times. The race did not happen last year, but we are thrilled that it's back. And I had fun today. I'll go ahead and tell you. Of course, fun for me doesn't necessarily mean a podium place. In fact, if I podiumed in this field, I would have bought the front page of the New York Times to publish that. But I didn't, so that saves me a fair bit of dough. But we've got, similar to Littleton, an L-shaped course. We're going clockwise today rather than counterclockwise. And as you can see right from the start, I got up front, and I'm going to sit right here, third wheel, getting warmed up, because my pre-race warm-ups are always laughable. But new for this year, some new pavement. You saw between turns 1 and 2. That was beautiful, nice, smooth stuff. And at the last corner right here, where's the hole? Where's the pothole? It's like you hardly know where to turn in because the pavement's so smooth there. So that was a huge improvement. We're grateful for that. So that's the end of lap 1, and I've just been sitting on. But my goal, at least for the start, stay up front. So we'll take a pause from the commentary and get back with you in a bit. If you look in the mirrored butt cam, it had to happen sometime. We got our first attacks going on. You see Justin Little attacking up the left side there behind a Quarry test team. Quarry. I'm not going to get that right. But anyway, Justin attacked. He's following another guy. And now my heart rate finally will increase. But being at the front to start, I've got a chance to respond to that quicker and get on the wheel, and you notice the gap forming behind me. So already this is a more enjoyable race for me than Littleton was yesterday, simply because I'm up where it's single file. I'm not on the brakes, and I'll go ahead and say, boy, this course, we're just about to pass the one pothole in the course. Eagle-eyed viewers might have seen it just to the inside of me coming into that corner, but this course is wide and not as pancake flat as Littleton, but pretty darn flat and fast. This is a fast course. And so in true Masters 1, 2, 3 tradition, it's going to be aggressive, and I even got out of the saddle and launched an attack. By golly, that's just how frisky I'm feeling. But yeah, this is In retrospect, what I wanted to do at Littleton, but again, I was just so wrapped up in my little pity party from last year. But that's behind me now. So let us do the course analysis here as we approach the start-finish. And we're at the highest point on the course right now. We'll make this, it's all 90-degree turns, as you see on the map. Turn right into the new pavement, beautiful new pavement, slightly downhill, off in a tailwind in August. And what I found when I won here 10 years ago in the Masters 4s was this is where you could kind of throttle back just a little bit once you got a gap if you're in a breakaway. But anyway, we're going around the park here on our right, lots of nice tree cover. Again, super wide roads, super sweeping turns. Really, you can pedal through this entire course. But on the right here on the left here rather, you heard them cheering. Some awesome spectators. Kudos to those folks for cheering us on. Yeah, they got the fencing there to let folks out of that parking lot, but then it widens out before this corner. There's a dip at the apex of this turn for a storm sewer grate, but then the long drag slightly uphill up this straightaway. There is some gnarly pavement. The curb on the right side will come into us just after this next intersection, but still a lot of room to work with, and just such a picturesque course, really beautiful. But here's another attack. At this point, I'm happy to just kind of start slotting in, so I'm going to drift back a little bit, not in tail gun mode yet. But again, through the final turn, no big pothole sewer grate at the apex there, thank goodness. And yeah, I'm starting to feel it. But again, by working to be up front initially, I'm not that far back, and I can respond a lot more effectively to these attacks. Shout out as always to Dan Berger, my punk rock brother from another mother in the Celeste Sox. I did myself proud by riding closer to him today for sure, but Dan's a beautiful human being. It's always a pleasure riding and racing with him, comparing thoughts on the universe. Didn't get to do that a lot today. The racing kind of took precedence, but love you, man. I do love me a good Criterium, but the older I get, the less I want to fall down. And this next corner, watch the rider to my right. I'm not going to say he squeezed me, but still, it was a little close for my comfort. But hey, I just got to put on my big boy pants. You'll see our beloved spectators on the left here.
Woo, yeah.
That's what we like to hear. That's crit racing in America right there. Wish I had more of that. But lo and behold, we got a rider away here. We'll see him. Well, we saw him just coming into that penultimate corner. So we'll see what he can make of it. could see in that response to that solo attack, some riders coming by, trying to get in line for that last corner, and it was worrying me a bit. I'm ready to start kind of slinking back towards the back. We'll see if I go into full tailgun mode here, but yeah, you just got to keep your wits about you, maintain a predictable line, and yeah, it looks like that particular attack was neutralized. So there's still plenty of riders behind me. I'm definitely not tail gunning, but I'm far enough back that you do kind of have to watch. And for example, those two slower riders we just passed, the rider who was behind me it looked like maybe he was looking at them, and you see the gap that opened. You really got to be looking ahead, watching for gaps to form. And the smaller a gap is when you start working to close it, the better your chances of success, and the less energy you got to burn to close it. But so far, like I say, I'm just having a blast. I mean, it's the pace has been higher. There's just been a couple, kind of lulls where the field gets wide. I'm not going to pretend we're Pro 1-2 level speed, because we most certainly are not. But we're staying, a lot of the time fairly strung out, and that's a blast going in not technical. I mean, I wouldn't call this a technical course, but it's definitely not office park blob sort of thing. We got distinct corners. You got to set up for them. Anyway, to me, this is a proper crit, and like I say, I'm glad it's back on the calendar for sure. So here on my right in the Cuore colors is Michael Catterall, a friend of mine from going back a few years. He passed me at Littleton yesterday and said hi, and I didn't recognize him at the time.
You took me by surprise yesterday. Good to see you, man. It's been forever. Yeah. Glad you're healthy. Good. Getting there.
Well, Michael actually had surgery for an aortic aneurysm less than a year ago, and so I'm just pleased to see him on the bike and obviously racing. So Michael, chapeau to you, and super stoked to see you out there, man. So surely you've noticed by now I'm not really commentating on the race at this point. Not quite tail gunning at the moment, but not really paying attention to what's going on at the head of the race. Just trying to stay in there. But I'll pick up the commentary. You note the about 4 lap long spike in my heart rate later on. So we'll get back to you about then, unless there's something super interesting in the meantime. But this editing and commentating takes a while, so trying to be efficient. So here on my left, number 523, that is none other than Ben Sharp, who actually won at Littleton yesterday. He's on this beautiful Gulf Motorsports livery LA Sprint, which I love. But anyway, that's it's one of the fun things about racing in this field is you got so many seriously accomplished racers. I'm just tagging along. I'm just this doofus, but I just love to go play, even if I'm not a factor at the end. Just to be part of the peloton. I keep coming back to that. I just want to be part of the show. My glory days are gone, but I'm the don't cry that it's over, but smile that it happened type. So anyway, so chapeau to Ben. But one other thing I completely failed to mention is for the first time in I don't know how long, I've actually got family at the race with me. My oldest kid, Silas, who was in Longmont with a friend, came and watched dear old Dad race. And Silas, I did not find you during the race. I'll have to go back through the footage, but I know you're out there. And anyway, but Silas is doing a PhD program in math out east, and when we took them out August of last year, 24, right as we were heading out, Silas announces, "Dad, I want to get into biking. I'm going to get a bike." And we taught our kids to ride, and but I never pushed any of them to follow my footsteps. I figured there's enough suffering in this sport. If you're interested, you'll find it. Well, Silas found cycling and actually went out and bought a decent bike, a Cannondale Synapse, and we actually had a nice summer of riding together. And turns out the kid's been listening to dear old Dad and the pearls of wisdom that I've passed down. Maybe didn't listen to all of them, but some of them didn't need to be listened to. But I'm thrilled that Silas has gotten into cycling and is enjoying it. And so hats off to you, kiddo. Good job. You may make a cameo appearance at the end of the video. So. All right, so this is going to be the lowest my heart rate gets for a while. And you see for 4 laps, it's going to be crazy, as Steve Toll would say. They're going to go bananas. It's going to be an absolute Donnybrook. But yeah, check it out. It's going to be nuts. At one point, I'm going to be in the third group on the road. And anyway, just hang on and watch. And enjoy me breathing like a freight train. I suck so bad. And I'm going to get to the front, which, of course, the front of my group at least, and that's going to be someone's cue to attack. Because that's how it goes. But enjoy some intense Criterium action. So somehow, I'm not sure exactly how, we've kind of re-coalesced, except for a couple riders off the front, of course. And if one of those riders is Patrick Warner, well, spoiler alert, Patrick goes on to win by like 23 seconds. So there are still a couple riders up the road, but otherwise, this is a classic example of you're fighting an 800-pound gorilla. You don't stop fighting when you're tired. You stop fighting when the gorilla is tired, and at least most of the gorilla got tired. So, but that was a crazy couple I think 4 laps, for me at least, hanging on for dear life, and I managed to do it. So, that maybe makes me feel like, okay, I still belong here. Obviously, the race is up the road, but I managed to hang on. I'm awfully pleased by that. So we regroup a bit. There's some attempts to bridge, but otherwise, it's just I'm gonna keep on hanging on. It's gonna ramp up at the finale, and well, you can imagine what happens at that point. But enjoy the last looks like 7 laps of this race. And yeah, now I'll be tailgunning. LOL. as we start the bell lap, I'm tail gunning my brains out, but you know, I'm not going to contest a field sprint. I don't really have the power for it. So quick stats, this race, for me at least, 51 minutes, 17 seconds in length, covered 23.45 miles, an average speed of 27.4 miles per hour, average weighted power, 241 watts, raw average 229 watts, maximum 815. You know what? I am just not that powerful. I weigh 73 kilograms. You can do the math, but never been a sprinter. Once upon a time I would have told you my threshold was 280 watts. I'm sure that's going down the older I get. But average heart rate 157 beats per minute, maximum 169. 70% of the race I was in my threshold heart rate zone. Never got anaerobic though. But the best part, calories burned, 666. The demon in my soul says hi. All right, so that's it for the 2025 road racing season. Garrick, Silas, signing off, and I can't wave because I'm holding my bike. Silas, wave at the camera.